In the interacting components video, I talked about modeling interactions, and I'd like to present an approach to developing models that I consistently find very useful, though be advised that this is one type of model out of hundreds that are in fact available. And a model is in fact a representation of something, and in the particular context that of what I'm trying to present here, a model is a simplification of reality intended to promote understanding, and to the extent to which it does promote understanding, it's a good model, and if it doesn't promote understanding, then it's not a very good model, and either you should work on it some more or find a different kind of model or throw it away and build a new one or do something, but just continue to do things until you get to a point where you feel like you've got the level of understanding that you're trying to develop. Though this particular approach I continue to find very useful. What I have a situation where I have crop-eating insects that are in fact devouring my crops, and being that I am in fact a farmer, I am not very happy at all with the fact that the insects are damaging my crops. So the typical response to this is that I apply pesticides because I understand that the pesticides will kill insects. Though what I seem to have found over the years is that every year there seems to be more and more insects that I have to deal with. And I really don't understand why that is. So when I think about that set of interactions, I then go ahead and ask myself the same question over and over and over again. I look at the elements that I've already identified and I say, and what else does this influence? Or what else influences it? The question continues to be, and what else? So in terms of crop-eating insects, I know that when I apply pesticides, I don't actually kill all of them. So some of them survive, and the ones that survive, in fact, are likely to have insect births, which increase the number of insects. Now, I know there are additional things in this path, and that if I'm dealing with caterpillars, they turn into butterflies and lay eggs, and you know, and then they have births. But the essence of it is that crop-eating insects promote more crop-eating insects. So, and though that's probably not enough to explain my situation, I probably should continue to look at it and then say, what else do I know about the situation? I have learned from reading and talking to other people in news stories that applying pesticides on a regular basis has a tendency to promote pesticide immunity in insects, which in fact means that there will in fact be more insects available to create insect births so that I will have more of them next year. So if I follow this loop from crop-eating insects to crop damage to applying pesticides to pesticide immunity to crop-eating insects, I in fact have a sequence that continues to promote more and more crop-eating insects. So I'm trying to balance the situation by killing them, and I'm also doing things which causes them to get stronger so that they're more difficult to kill. So I am in fact being my own worst enemy. Though before I planted all these crops, what were all of these crop-eating insects doing? I mean, they were probably around someplace, and why was it that because I wasn't spraying, why was it that they weren't getting out of control? Well, it turns out that there are in fact insects which devour the crop-eating insects. Though what I also find out is that when I apply pesticides, I kill some of those insects so they don't devour as many crop-eating insects. And I've got another one of these sequences where crop-eating insects promotes crop damage. I apply pesticide, which kills the controlling insects, which don't devour as many crop-eating insects. And I have another reinforcing cycle that moves me in the opposite direction that I want to go. So I have one balancing set of interactions, and I have two reinforcing sets of interactions taking me in the wrong direction that I want to go. And what else? Well, there are lots of other things that one could consider, and it depends upon what you're trying to figure out. how long can I apply pesticides before I, in fact, begin to damage my own water supply or somebody else's water supply? Well, if it's somebody else's water supply, maybe I don't care. If I, in fact, decide to quit applying pesticides, so I quit promoting pesticide immunity and decide to begin to influence the development of more controlling insects, so I use the insects to control the situation, then that's probably a good thing, so I'm not applying pesticides. But the question is, if the controlling insects in fact devour all the crop eating insects, then when the crop eating insects are gone, what are the controlling insects going to eat? Because they'll want to eat something. So, and once you run out of things to ask yourself, then present it to someone else and see if they can understand the rationale behind what you are putting together, and are there in fact things that they are aware of that you should have included. Now, I never get these right the first time. I mean, I develop them and I work with them and I tune them and I put things in and I take things out, and I get to a point sometimes where it's just so confusing that I wad them all up and throw them away and start over again, with continuing with one single intent, and that is, can I get to a point where the model that I have developed promotes a solid understanding so that I can figure out how to deal with the situation. Now, what kind of a model is this? I mean, some people would call this a causal loop diagram, and some people would call it a rich picture. And what you call it is not really as relevant as whether or not it does, in fact, promote understanding. If it promotes understanding, I don't care what you call it. And if it doesn't promote understanding, well, then build a better model or go find a different approach to developing models that allow you to get to a point that actually helps you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. If you go to the Adventures in Wonderland page and follow the Modeling and Simulation with Insight Maker thread, there are numerous models presented in that thread, as well as an indication of what they're good for and how you could actually go about developing them in Insight Maker. And also on the models page, there's a reference to a course given by Scott Page at University of Michigan, which is, I don't know, about 40 videos where he talks about an enormous array of models that and the context within which they are beneficial in providing understanding. So hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.